MMA UK, Abdul Ahad Patel. I am here live with Jack Woodard of Outlaw MMA and Kieran Williams from Aspire Combat Sports Academy. Boys, how are we?
We're good.
Jack?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
So we you guys recently fought on Battle Arena in Gloucester. Jack, should we start with you? How you feeling, man? It's been a couple of weeks since the fight.
Yeah, man, I'm feeling good. Back in the gym. I think the fight, like I said to Kieran afterwards, like it was a close fight, but regardless of result, I just wasn't necessarily fully satisfied with myself in terms of like my own performance. Just one thing I'm thankful for from that whole experience was the fact that it shows me. Do you know what I mean? You've always got to improve, so there's no complacency. There's no room for complacency whatsoever. So it's just getting back in the gym, working on things like takedown defense, for example, sweeps, get-ups from the fight. So it's just, do you know what I mean, improving as a martial artist. I'm all good, man. Life's great. Do you know what I mean? Got nothing to complain about.
Good man, good man. Kieran, what about yourself? I know you had a bit of an injury after that fight. How's things looking up for you?
No, it's all right now. It's settled down. Like when I was leaving the venue, I could barely walk. Well, for that moment, but then the next day I was weight bearing, and like slowly but surely, it's all back to normal. I'm training. I'm back on the mats. I can't kick with my right. Like any contact on my foot hurts, so I avoid kicking. But that's about it. But yeah, I'm good. Like obviously, I was disappointed that weekend. I had to kind of get my head around it a little bit for the week after, but I'm straight back into training, waiting for the fight to come back out. I've watched it a few times from what people have recorded on the day, but waiting for the fight footage to come back because there's a lot to take away from both sides. Like Jack said, both had good performances there. It was a good fight. You know, it was a shame that it was only 3 rounds. Like I reckon another 2 rounds would have been nice, to be honest. But yeah, there will be a lot to take away from my side as well. So.
I think it's something you both can learn from as well. Like I said to you both after the fight, like you both stepped up very short notice that you were main eventing. Obviously, Johnny Bryant, who was supposed to fight on the main card, his opponent pulled out and they tried to replace him, and that didn't happen. And you both stepped up and put on a brilliant show, and it was very entertaining. So yeah, I applaud you both for doing that, because obviously it takes a lot of bottle fighting, full stop, but then to go on to a main card and a main event, it takes a lot, especially when you're amateurs and you're still learning.
Do you know what? I leaked that shit up though. I love being main event. I think the only annoying thing was like the show just seemed to run slow, so I didn't have no idea what time. Jack would have been exactly the same what time we were fighting. So I ate my food as if we'd be fighting at like 8:30, 9 o'clock ish, but. It turned out. What time did we even fight? It was like 10 o'clock, wasn't it?
It was like 10:30, quarter to 11.
Yeah, man. It just seemed like I was warming up for time. Yeah. But other than that, it's good. It's good to be the main event, especially like me and Jack. We're both Gloucester fighters as well. So it's just nice to put on that show, and we both had a lot of fans there as well. So
yeah. And how did you feel about main event in Jack?
It was a weird one, really. I mean, at the end of the day, I think on fight day, it's one of them. Like the mission stays the same regardless of when you fight. So like you could be first on, you still got to warm up, you still got to eat the correct food, you still got to stay hydrated, you still got to stretch, make sure you're ready to go for the scheduled slot. Like Kieran said, because there was a lot of breaks, and like I think there was a 40-minute break between the 5th and 6th fight. And it was like those breaks. It was very difficult to time because obviously you don't want to burn yourself out warming up or warm up for too long. So it was one of them. It was like it was difficult to time it, but I think I went in for warm as fight 7 started. Just started to flow then. But yeah. So I mean, like I said, me and Kieran know a lot of the same people. So it was like I felt like. Just from like people you speak to, like most people were just coming to see me and Kieran fight anyways. So most of the people that I was aware that were coming felt like me and Kieran were the main attraction anyway. No disrespect to anyone else on the card, because I'm sure they had their own people coming out to support. But from the people that I know personally, and then Kieran knows, they were coming to see us both. So, I mean, it was the only thing that was annoying about the whole main event thing was, just like Kieran said, it was we didn't fight till 10 o'clock at night. Like normally, in my training sessions anyway, start at like 7 till like 6:30 till like 8:30 at the latest. So it was just trying to adjust to fighting a little bit later, but it was good exposure. I think on that trajectory to take that next step up in our careers and like progress as fighters. So like to do it in our hometown in front of all the people that we love and care about and who genuinely want to see us both do well, I think it was like it was a good entry level to it, and I'm sure we'll both be doing big things going forward in the UK MMA scene. So I feel like pressure makes diamonds, and we've got 2 UK studs here looking to sort of progress and go forward from there.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one to watch because I obviously know you both, you know, as fighters and on a personal level as well. So it was odd to see that, you know, Jack, you had a huge crowd that was like right behind us on the fence, and then further to the right, you had Kieran and his family and friends. But it was weird to watch because I was looking at it from a perspective from Kieran, and I was thinking to myself, you're fighting in your hometown as the away fighter because you live in Liverpool. So how did that feel, Kieran?
Do you know what? I didn't feel like that as such. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I fight at Liverpool now, but still, like Jack said, a lot of the same people were there for like almost both of us as well. I guess I didn't really realize that until some of Jack's lot started. Some of the people started booing me when I got in there. I was like, wait a minute, this is my hometown as well. So
yeah,
that added to the fight on it. Like we both psyched up for that fight. You could see it the way we started, but no, I didn't look at it that way. I was just like, I was a hometown fighter as well. We both were.
But you know, it was good to see a lot of people come out for you both and support you both. And you know, whenever, you know, I spoke to Lawrence Tracy about this yesterday, and we was talking and we were saying that in Gloucester there's so much pool of talent of fighters, whether it's boxing, it's MMA, it's combat sports. There's so many great fighters, and not to take away from your camp in Liverpool, Kieran, because we know Liverpool are fighting people through their history and through, you know, modern day. But when we look at the facts of 2 Gloucester fighters, and you saw the amount of support that came out to watch you guys, it was, you know, it was something special, and you guys put on a special show. So let's talk about the fight, because obviously some people have difference of opinions. You know, it went to a decision. Let's go through it then. Round 1, you both came out. You both, you know, feeling each other in sense of, you know, landing your jabs, your right hands. There was the kicks here and there, and then I think Kieran scored the takedown towards the end of the round, if my mind could serve me correctly. At one point, I could be wrong here, but I think Kieran landed a right, or maybe it was a hook, Jack, and you looked a bit, you went back up onto the fence. Like, was you affected at any point?
It was a kick.
Kick.
So it was the kick. So I've watched the fight back a few times now. It was the kick. So where obviously typically you block a kick here, I was trying to parry him because I knew sort of going in, we were doing our research. Like he likes to throw the head kicks. So obviously looking to parry, like cover and parry and shout. But where his foot come around, his foot slapped me in the back of the head, and then that's what sort of buzzed me. And then he landed a right hand after, which like it was like I got buzzed, and then he landed the right hand and it woke me straight back up. So then it's just a matter of trying to stay calm and composed, because that's when he came rushing in on me. So it was just composure, the hands to get engaged into a firefight and do anything stupid, moving from there. So yeah, it was actually the kick that it sort of the shin hit the guard, but it was the foot that actually hit the back of the head that done the damage.
Yeah, and no, fair play to you. You did. because at the time it looked like, you know, Kieran could have gone for the finish, but you composed yourself really well and kept the space and kind of worked around the fence. Obviously, off of the back of that, Kieran, was that what caused the injury to your foot?
Nah, like, do you know what? Jack's probably clocked it as well. When the photos from the main photographer came out, it was the first kick of the fight. But I didn't feel it. I had no idea the whole fight, all 3 rounds. I didn't know that my foot was fucked. So it had no effect on the fight at all. But yeah, the first kick of the fight, it was like an inside kick, but I kicked his knee.
Yeah, I would come out of southpaw. Yeah,
he did.
And then
yeah,
you threw the kick, and then it hit the inside.
But yeah, I didn't notice that until after the fight. I was walking back out of the main bit of the venue, and my coach Philly is like, "You broke your foot there?" I said no, and I looked down, and it was just so swollen. And then, like, from that point, that's when I felt it from my knee. And then 2 minutes later, I couldn't walk. But yeah, it's what it is, isn't it? Luckily, you don't feel these things when you're in there.
Okay, fair enough.
Adrenaline.
So then, yeah, this is it. So, you know, it happened within moments of the seconds of the fight starting, and you still fought 3 strong rounds. So yeah, you know, it goes to show how tough you both can be, and how tough you are in actual fact. Going into the second round, then again, I haven't been able to watch the footage, so I can only recall from on the night. But from what I remember is Jack tried to take you down, and there was a lot of defense around the fence, and eventually, Kieran, you took Jack down and had him in you was in his guard for the majority of the fight. And then the second round kind of ended with Jack in a submission attempt. So let's talk about that then, Jack. Second round, how do you think that went?
I think the triangle, going off what the commentators said as well when I watched it back, I think it was the triangle that won me the second round. Because it like, if it wasn't for the bat, I don't know how tight it was, but from my end, it felt like it was locked in. It was just sweat basically, because I didn't have. Normally, you grab the shin, put the foot on the hip, and then cut the angle. But obviously, where we're both just sweating, it's like he went to throw a hammer fist, I think. So I had the arm was through and the leg was round. And as he threw the hammer fist, I sort of shifted, and where we were just both sweaty, sort of just slipped in. So the triangle, it was on. I've gone off what, like I said, the commentators were speaking to a few of the judges and some people around the arena after. That's what sort of won me the second round, I believe, anyway. Because like you said, there's a lot of control. And then it's just me trying to be active on top. He's a big guy in the cage as well. I don't know. What did you weigh in the cage, Kieran?
About 81. Not too much.
81. Yeah. I was gonna say, because he's fat, heavy, so it's like trying to shift his base. Because I don't like, even if I'm bottom, I don't like to be just like hold on, just like wrap up, hold on. Obviously, you've got to be safe, because you've got to be aware the guy's got gritty on their side. They can posture up and punch. So his base is really good. So it was trying to offset him, trying to get the submission. Unfortunately, it was at the latter half of the round when I went for it. But yeah, it was just trying to be active off her back. But yeah, I mean, that was sort of the second round as a whole. Like you said, it was a lot of grappling exchanges against the fence. And I think it was a hip toss, wasn't it? And then I had the whizzer.
Yeah.
And then we like skirmished up against the cage.
You rushed me against the cage, and obviously I defended. I had my back against the cage, and then I reversed the position, and then you reversed me back, I believe. And then, then I went for a hip throw. Was that the third round? I see. I need to watch it back. There was one of the ones.
Yeah,
where I went for the hip throw, and then I shot down. And then you worked your way back up, and then I got under your hips and took you down for that way. So the way I see that round, because I remember that. Yeah, if there was any striking at all, that was even. And then from my perspective, because you've tried to take me down, I've defended that position, and I've managed to take you down. Like, the control element of the fight should have gone to me. That triangle attempt happened in the last 10 seconds. It was like, I think it was put on like 8 seconds. So because I'd heard the tap already from the judges, whoever makes that 10-second tap, I decided to, I think I threw 2 punches and just wait it out rather than defending the triangle too much. And I just stood back up and the round was over. So I can't see how that scored too much, to be honest.
Yeah, it was an odd one to watch because, again, from my perspective, watching this, like, you know, as someone outside of the cage, I saw Kieran defend the takedown. I'm pretty sure it was that second round that you landed the hip toss because you did it twice, but then I think on the second time, Jack caught the whizzer and he worked his way out of it. But the fight ended on the ground. I don't think there was too much sort of transitioning, but then Jack obviously ended up with the submission attempt towards the end. And those 8 seconds might have felt like the world to you guys, but it didn't seem that long watching from the outside. So in a sense, I think the anticipation was there. Like, you thought, oh, is Kieran going to tap? Is Kieran going to tap? But then obviously the buzzer went, and then that was the end of round 2. So going into round 3
I think just saying on round 2, sorry, before we move to round 3, I think like MMA is one of those sports, like me and Jack, like if you're fighting, you're judged from the second you enter the venue, when you're walking in, how you hold yourself, how confident you are before, obviously what you're doing in the cage as well, but then also in between rounds as well. So if you're ending the round and you're not getting back up quick and you're on your back, the judges are going to see that, like, hey, he's not all there yet, like Jack's won that round. But the way I see it is I hold out for 8 seconds and I stand straight back up and I walk to my corner. So does Jack. So like, you got to remember, like, we are scored, and we're not scored necessarily, but we're judged for the whole, you know, including the in between, like for 15 minutes basically, not just the 9 minutes.
It's the perception, isn't it? Body language.
But the way we both held ourselves, like Jack said on the day as well, we both had good poker faces as well. There was no, like, no one knew he was tired and he was suffering.
Yeah, I was going to say, going into the third round.
As I say, it's the longest and shortest 3 minutes.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah,
especially
when you're in there, it's like you said, the anticipation. It was like those 8 seconds, like you said, they go really quick, but they feel really dragged out as well. It's like the whole thing. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to recollect everything that happened in the 9 minutes in total. It's actually got to try and comprehend it, like, take into one time. So like I said, that's why we got fight replays to rewatch. So yeah, it's one of those, like, your perception in the cage as well, what's going on, is completely different to, like you said, that those 8 seconds for me when I had the triangle on, from the outside, it didn't seem that long whatsoever. But on the inside, it does seem like a little while. It's weird sport that we're in, to be fair. When you actually think about it, like Kieran said, we're being judged on sort of body language in between rounds, like how you get up off the stool, if you're on the stool, like how are you carrying yourself after. Yeah, it was good, man.
Yeah, no, fully. And you know, you got to respect that those people some people, the casual fans, if you like, they don't understand that 3 minutes might only sound like 3 minutes to them, but when it's 3 minutes in the ring and you're punching, kicking, grappling, and, you know, the rest of it inside a cage with a live audience and your main event that those 3 minutes are going to be a very long time. And you guys know, you know, you've been in fights where it's you look at the clock, you've been taking a hammering for the first, like, what seems like 2 minutes and 50 seconds. You look at the clock and it's only been 20 seconds that's passed. So, you know, those times, the pressure, it does amount to a lot. And I think that's something people that's not in combat sports can't really comprehend. And again, you know, you guys put on a great show. And, you know, you did what you had to do to secure the win, Jack, and obviously Kieran, you know, you did what you did to try and win the fight. But going into the third round then, again, you could see that obviously you both wasn't as active in your striking, and then the fight ended up on the ground. Like, so, you know, going into the third, having fought the first 2 rounds, Kieran, what was your thought in going into the third? Like, what was your game plan?
Third,
Yeah,
do the same thing, really, just strike, and then, you know, if it's close, I need to take it down, and that's like where my fight EQ comes from. Like, take it down, and normally I'm a lot more active as well. I was suffering that week anyway, but Jack was threatening, you know, even in that third round as well, but certainly in the second round, he was threatening that triangle constantly. So that nullified anything I was able to do. Unless, you know, obviously there was times where I was trying to pass, but again, he regarded straight away. But I had to be careful with my selection of ground and pound, because I knew that any wrong slip, he's going to get that triangle back in. So I was very wary throughout the fight. But there wasn't much striking in round 3 at all. I think, if I remember rightly, Jack started that round and he rushed me against the cage straight away. So I obviously had to undo that and reverse the position and get the takedown myself. So unfortunately, that round was mainly, I think, must have been 2.5 minutes, if not 2:40, on the ground.
And Jack, like, what was your thoughts then? Go from the first 2 rounds going into the third. Like, what was your plan? Like, what was your mindset?
I think coming in after the triangle, like, from my end, and I think I was then, like, it was a lot of body attacks as well that I was using. So it was, I didn't know what his energy was like. So going into the third, like, I was just trying to just outwork him. But he was just so strong, like, in the clinch. Like, he had really good underhooks and overhooks as well. So I got the body lock position, and I was trying to go for the outside sweep. And Kieran is right. Literally, I think it was like first 8 seconds or 7 seconds I engaged in the clinch. And he reversed me and he changed level. And I had one underhook, and instead of trying to fight for the second underhook, I don't know why I done it. I think it was just because you were in the moment. I tried to throw in some hammer fists, and obviously you see it all the time in the UFC. People start letting the hammer fists or the elbows go when the guys got their head to the side. Amateur is probably not. Well, you can't throw elbows for one. So the hammer fists were only a couple. I think I landed 1 or 2, and as soon as I went like lifted my arm up, it was just like yeet, my legs were just gone, and I was, and then so that was, again, it was just trying to be active off my back. He said he wasn't throwing too many strikes because he was conscious of the fact that I was trying to be offensive, but I was trying to get him to throw strikes, because that's when, obviously, if someone's controlling the space, you need to do something in order for them to, like, create space. So normally that's ground and pound on when you're on bottom. So it's like you want to get them to extend their posture up, because that's when you have the opportunity to escape. So it's like, it was a waiting game essentially, and I think it was quite a stalemate. It was just he was on top, I was on bottom. So that was the third round, really.
Yeah, I could feel that was your kind of game. You know, certainly, obviously looking for that triangle space as well. Normally, I think ideally I would have liked to have passed to half guard, but it was almost impossible. Just the way he was attacking. It wasn't impossible, but it was just the way he was attacking. He made it very hard for me to kind of achieve anything. I think there was one point where he almost got the sweep as well. So it kind of, I had to stop that and then again settle back in.
Yeah. So a game of chess, weren't it? Just waiting for the slip up to happen on both parts. And then we came to the decision. Jack walked away with the win by split decision. What was your thoughts on that, Kieran? Like, what did you feel like you done enough to win the fight?
Yeah, I was very, very, very shocked and surprised. I think most of the people were in that building, to be honest. But 2 seconds. Let me just go and get that.
And Jack, how did you feel about the decision then?
Initially, just going off control, I thought he took it. I've got no problem saying that whatsoever. Like I said, I've watched the fight like I think 3 times now. Watched it once with my dad. Obviously, he's my head coach, so went over it there just to see what we need to improve on. And then we spoke to a few judges after. They just said it was the activity that's what they gave it to me. So I think it's one of those. It just depends how you interpret a fight. Are you looking for activity or are you looking for control? If you're looking for control, you give it to Kieran. If you're looking for activity, that's what the judges gave it to me. Me personally, I tend to go on control on those things. So it's like, that's why I say I was not completely happy with, like, although I got the win, it felt like a loss to me. Just because I hold myself to a regard, because I want to go places. So I can't be getting these split decisions. I want to be sort of putting myself in a different category. So, but that's why you got the amateur game, because you get those things to humble yourself and really bring you back down to earth. So that's what that was for me. I think it could have gone either way. Like I said, it was a close fight, but I think we had a rules here, and referee said, the guy at ISK, the organisation, I believe, they were saying just don't leave it to the judges because your perception in the cage is different to what it is outside the cage. So like I said, it was one of those, like, initially I thought Kieran won based on the control, but the judges were looking at it differently. They said because there wasn't much activity on top and I was trying to look for things on bottom, they gave it to me. But like I said, if you're looking at activity, you might swing my way. If you're looking on control, you would swing Kieran's way. So like I said, regardless of result, I'm happy to have, because I view Kieran as a step up, like the best opponent I've fought so far in terms of like step up in competition. He's been very active as well. I believe we're fighting in December as well, is it?
Meant to be on golden ticket, but
yeah,
we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to be able to have a full camp with my foot. We'll see. I'm judging it over the next few weeks, but.
So that's what I mean. So I was just like I said, I was annoyed at the performance, but in terms of, because of the pandemic, having 2 years out, and then getting in there, like I said, main event, hometown, in front of a big crowd against a guy who's been very active, almost had double my fights. Granted, I've got the experience, but like the activity is a factor at the end of the day. Being comfortable, getting used to the breathing in there, energy exertion, this, that, and the other. It was a great experience for the both of us, and I've definitely learnt my lessons the hard way, if you want to put it that way. But it's the best way to learn them as well.
Nice. Like, I guess what you can walk away with that from is, although you weren't happy with your performance, you got to share the cage with Kieran and gain that experience in a fighter that is, at a elite level in the amateur. So that's something you can take forward and, progress into your career or wherever you head next. Kieran, like, I know, like, we didn't really get to break down your thoughts on the decision because you had to run away. But split decision. What was your thoughts? What was going through your head? Like, what did you think you did that the judges didn't see?
Just took control of the fight. Whatever areas, like, obviously the only real proper stand-up that there was the first round, which was close. We were both landing shots. Jack had a lovely teep and his knees as well were good. I think I was more damaging in that round. Obviously controlled the takedown, got the control. Round one, I think Jack will agree that that's my round. Round two was the questionable one, obviously. But again, looking at it, we started off standing up. Jack tried to take me down. I've answered that. I've reversed the position. I've tried to sweep, ended up getting a takedown through level change into his double leg. He's ended up with a submission attempt. But for me, and out of experience, you've got to do more than that, personally. But again, from being on top, normally I would be a lot more active on top. So again, I'm not going to take that away from Jack. He nullified that. Round three, again, it is what it was, wasn't it? Obviously, he rushed me, took reverse position, took him down, and got the control. There was ground and pound here and there, like the odd shot, enough for the referee. If there wasn't enough, the referee would give warnings and stand you up. But he was obviously happy with what he was seeing as well. Jack was still attempting that submission quite a few times, but I think where it was sweatier and more, and I was more alert to it. Obviously, I was able to posture out of it every time. Land a shot, settle back in, and I was just playing it smart as well. I was run down that week as well, so I knew my energy wasn't as good as it normally was. But then also, off the back of that, I've had fights, like Ryan Lockyer fight where I'm absolutely pounding the ground and pound, and I do myself over energy-wise as well. So I'm just trying to use that IQ a bit, and obviously preserve that energy for where it's needed as well. Because saying that, like I said, in that round three, he almost reverse me, and if he reversed me, then I would actually use that energy to get back up and bring the fight back to the feet as well. So it was a fight where obviously I was having to think as well, and so was Jack.
Yeah, it's having that fine balance, isn't it? Like you said, like you don't want to exert all your energy and then put yourself in a position where you then are on the defensive. So Jack said that like, in terms of activity, he felt that he would, if the judges were looking at the activity side of it, then he feels that he did secure the win. But in terms of control, he feels that it would be fair to say that you would have won that fight. Now, based on that, would you agree? Do you think that's a fair statement?
I'm going to agree to disagree.
Okay.
Because I think, in fact, what let's talk specifics, because obviously you can't just say, oh yeah, round 1 I was more active. Like obviously it's round 1, round 2, round 3. You got to look at those rounds individually. I think you've got to look at activity in terms of your wrestling as well. Is activity getting that takedown that normally scores high, controlled, and like I said again, I'm obviously doing enough for the referee not to issue any warnings or stand us back up as well. So I don't know. I need to watch the full footage, the proper footage. I haven't been able to watch it yet. So
yeah, it's a difficult one. Me watching as just a person in the audience, I felt like it would have swung in the decision of Kieran, and not necessarily split. I thought he did enough for it to be unanimous, but
doesn't take away that was a close fight though.
Yeah, I'm not sat there ringside, so again, I'm not seeing everything in full. Again, if I was in the referee's position, maybe I'd think different as well. So I do think it's one of those things, unfortunately, with MMA and with boxing and certain combat sports, we have to take in consideration that we can't view everything the same way a judge or a referee can. I know they've put things in place like a professional fight league where the referees has the camera on their head, and you can view the fight as it's seen from his eyes. But I feel like again, sometimes we give judges a hard time, and sometimes it's justified, sometimes it isn't. But it's a difficult one because as a spectator, you view it a totally different view, don't you? And as fighters, again, you're both going to be biased in your own ways and say that you feel you won the fight because obviously you've put in the work, and the way you comprehend the fight is different from the way your opponent does. But I think again, like taking away the pluses from this fight, like you both came in, you both stepped up, you've both looked at the fight in areas and thought, yeah, I could have done better here, I could have done better there. And I think the great thing is with amateurs, this is the time to learn. I know some people don't want to hear that and they just want to win. But in martial arts, you have to learn to succeed. So when you can identify your flaws, that's where you will start learning. And I think you both, highlighted that today. So it's unfortunate that things didn't go your way, Kieran, and again in some way it's unfortunate that you wasn't able to perform to the max of your ability, Jack, like you said. But I still think this is a win for both of you. It's definitely a win for MMA, and it's a win for Gloucester for martial arts.
No, agreed, definitely.
Oh, yeah,
so
100%.
It's what are we in going into October, end of October, going into November. Jack, you got anything else lined up before the year's out?
Not as of yet. I wasn't gonna be fighting November 26th at Winter Gardens down in Western, but I think I'm nursing a few injuries just from camp. And sort of just got a busy schedule at the gym as well. You guys, in our beginner classes, we're introducing what we call sport MMA, so it's just medium contact, no headshot. Just for those guys that can't commit to a full camp but wanted to get an idea for what it's like to compete. So we've got a few new guys that are interested in that. So we're just focusing on classes up until Christmas, I think now. I'm going to keep my weight low though, just in case an opportunity does present itself. But I believe there's a show February time, like mid to end February. I think that's probably when I'll look to get in there, and then hopefully injury free and whatnot, come out of that okay, and then just look to keep the ball rolling now. It's just try to be active. But like I said, I got to learn a lot from this fight. So the main thing is improving. I don't want to rush back in there. I feel like I need to take my time with this. I started this sport when I was 14. So it's just a case of I've got like a good skill set, but I want to add to that, and I really want to improve. So my focus, like I said, over the next like sort of 2-3 months, improve, develop some new techniques, add to my current techniques, sharpen and refine them. Look to get back in there. Like I said, it's about getting experience now. I think that's the main thing at amateur. I think people get too caught up on wins and losses. Like at the end of the day, you could be fighting someone that's 2 wins and 8 losses in an amateur, but they've got 10 fights of experience, and you could be having your second or third fight, and that's going to account for so much more, especially when it comes to in terms of like Kieran is alluding to energy management. You can blow yourself out quite quickly if you get too excited. And obviously you could be too reserved, which I've had in my past. I think it was my first fight. I was way too reserved when I had I hurt on multiple occasions, so I could have done more in that sense. So it's learning from your experiences, but also trying to gain more experiences. So I think that's the main thing going forward. Because at the end of the day, when we both turn pro, our record goes to 0-0. It doesn't matter how many wins or losses you got, but you can bank on the experience that you've had in your.
Too many people focus, like you said, on the wins and the losses and just trying to win. But then when they look at their record, are they really proud of their record? Who have they fought? Bunch of nobodies. A lot of people where, like you said, me and Jack have just had an absolute good fight there. I know he's fought some good guys. He knows that I've fought some good guys as well. So like when you take away that cage time in the craft and learning from your mistakes, learning from your wins, it's so much more valuable than fighting 5 bums and turning pro. So much more.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
100%. And so, Kieran, potentially December?
I'm not sure. Like I said to you before, the aim was December. It's looking unlikely. I've been doing my S&C since the fight, and I've just been on the mats for the first time for one session with Danny today. But every time I was kicking, it was just ringing. It was just pain. So I'll give it another week or 2 before I decide and agree to a matchup. But if not, I'm going to just start like I said to you, I was going to do a 3-month block over the winter where it's just strength and conditioning, get ready for 15-minute wars. Yeah. Hopefully try and request some 5-round fights next year.
Yeah.
I know hopefully I've got my eyes on the Almighty title, which at the moment that Danny Naismith from Scotland's got. And then, potentially turn pro next year if I'm ready for it. See how I am over 15 minutes first at amateur.
Nice. So, again, big things for both of you to come. And who knows, you may meet each other down the line in the pro leagues maybe one day. And boy, what a fight that would be when it happens, if it happens. Listen, boys, I want to thank you and really applaud you on your sportsmanship and your humbleness and your complete gentleman-like manners. You've both been a pleasure to interview and have on the show today. And it takes a certain type of person to be able to come back and interview with your opponent on a post-fight. So, round of applause to both of you. Thank you. And hopefully we'll both be able to we'll be able to catch up on both of your journeys as you progress.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'm looking forward to my own journey, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Jack gets up to next as well, because it's been respect from the start. There's no need for any shit talking. It never was. We both knew mutual people. We knew of each other before. Obviously, like I said in the last podcast, Jack's dad's a staple in UK MMA. So I knew it wasn't a fight to take lightly. Just knowing that Jack would have been around that from he was young, probably, training somewhat all his life. Like he said, he started at 14. I didn't start until I think I was like 19 or something. So some things to take seriously in that fight there. So I learned a lot from it. But no, it's respect always. And like I said, we might fight each other again. We might even use each other as training partners moving forwards, etc. So no, it was good. It's good to have that experience with him.
Yeah,
No, I was going to say the extension's there. If you're ever down in Gloucester, and like I said, I've got keys to the gym. So if you're ever down, like I said, at the end of the day, it's all love on my part. It's just business at the end of the day. I don't get into beefs. I'm too laid back to do that, man. But yeah, so if you're ever down in Gloucester and you need to train, like I said, you're tall, 6'3", rangy set, like guy. I'm awkward, switch stance. Do you know what I mean? I can mix it well together. So like I said, if anything, it'd be beneficial to train with each other. I don't usually like fighting guys from Gloucester. Is the exception this time because it was the first fight back in God knows how long. I think we should, as like a city, sort of use each other to it. Like you said, there's so many cities. You've got Birmingham, Bristol, like Cardiff, Wales, all these surrounding cities. We may as well come together as a one unit and see what we can do together. So, yeah, man, the extension's there.
In Gloucester, people don't really. The teams are so segregated. Nobody wants to train together. Like obviously, you got Range Trojan, you got Outlaw, which I believe it's in Tewkesbury, isn't it, Jack? Which is obviously only a few miles away from Gloucester. You've got now Top Team, and no one's mixing up the training. No one's going to find bodies elsewhere. Everyone's just fighting the same bodies all the time. I think that was a nice experience where you come up to Liverpool and you just see how there are some rivalries up here. Don't get me wrong, don't mix with everybody, but there's a lot of our guys that go over to Four Corners and train with like Justin Burlington and stuff like that as well. So everyone's using everybody. Gloucester needs more of that. So let's start a trend there, Jack.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely
100%.
promote that as well. As martial artists, you can't learn in one place. You have to branch out and learn elsewhere. And I feel like, respectfully, if any coach says to you that you can't train elsewhere, depending on the circumstances, I think that can be challenged. But
too many coaches. It's always athlete centered. What does the athlete want? What's the athlete going to benefit from? There's too many coaches that they let their ego get in the way, and they don't. If you're a good coach, you don't worry about someone going elsewhere to get rounds elsewhere or training elsewhere because you're a good coach. They're going to come back. But if you've got that slight little eating away in your subconscious where you think someone's going to find better, then that's where that brings that out. So good coaches will always allow you to mix your training partners.
Definitely. Well, boys, thank you for your time. Again, I'm really grateful for the time I've been able to spend with you guys. And I look forward to your journeys.
Cheers, man.
All right,
thanks for
boys,
having us. One more shout out. I just want to say shout out to both our mums. Because I didn't realise this, my mum was telling me. I don't know if your mum told you, Kieran. But basically, some guy tried barging in front of my mum, and she was like, "No, that's my baby fighting in there." And then Kieran's mum's turned around. I was like, "That's my baby fighting in there as well." So it turns out both our mums were hugging each other and watching it together. So I just want to say shout out to them for being able to keep it cool and watch their kids.
Wow.
But yeah, I thought that was a cool moment, man.
That definitely is, and thank you for sharing that because we wouldn't have known that otherwise. So thank you. And I guess again, just something to top that off is you two boys will share a bond that no one else will have, that you fought in the cage together, and on top of that, your mums as well spent a bit of an intimate moment watching you boys as well. So. Thank you for sharing that, Jack. That's really nice, mate.
Nice as a mother to watch, definitely. So,
no problem.
It's good to hear that we're watching it together, man. But yeah, thanks for having us on, Labs.
No worries. Take care, boys. Speak soon.
Go on, see you in a bit.
Speak to you soon. Thank you.